Dream of the Red Chamber, Chapter 27.
We open not with a celebration, but with sorrow.
With Lin Daiyu.
Yeah, she has just watched Baiyu and Baochai leave together, and she's frozen. She's paralyzed by her own emotions.
She wants to talk to him, but she can't.
She can't. She's so sensitive about appearances, about propriety, that she just can't bring herself to approach them in public, so she shrinks back.
And she doesn't just, walk away. She retreats into her own world, the bamboo lodge. The text tells us she goes inside and listlessly removes her residual makeup.
Wow. That one detail, it says so much.
It does. She's so devoid of emotional energy that even this small act just feels like an insurmountable chore.
And her maids, the people around her, their reaction really drives home how isolated she is.
Right. Ziwan and Zwain, they're with her constantly, but sources note they've just become so used to her frequent tears, her silent grief.
Her grief is constant, as the text says.
Yeah. They don't even offer comfort anymore.
It's beyond just being used to it.
Oh, it is. They've stopped worrying. They leave her alone, sitting in this profound sadness until the second watch, until she finally falls asleep.
This really highlights her core vulnerability. She is completely alone in her sorrow.
And that constant, unnoticed grief is the psychological foundation for everything that's about to happen.
It's the perfect, heavy, internal counterpoint to the day's big public event.
The Mangzan Festival, yes, the contrast is absolute.
We go from Daiyu's silent grief to this boisterous communal joy.
Specifically, the 26th day of the 4th month. Mangzang literally means grain in ear, and it marks the beginning of the summer season.
Okay, so why is this a big deal in the Grandview Garden? Why the ritual?
Because it's the day the flowering season officially ends. It's believed that all the flowers are now faded, and the deity who looks after them, the flower god, has to be sent off with honor.
A farewell party for the flower god?
Essentially, yes.
Sure.
Bid farewell to the flower god.
It's such a beautiful concept. It's sort of melancholy, right? The end of beauty.
But performed with this incredible festive energy by all the young women.
So what are they actually doing?
They're creating these elaborate little farewell gifts.
Right.
They make tiny sedans and horses out of flower petals and willow branches.
Oh, wow.
And they create these beautiful banners and standards using, expensive materials like silk, gauze, and satin.
And they tie these to everything.
To every single tree and flower.
It
The sources say the result is just stunning. A fluttering, vibrant spectacle of embroidered ribbons fluttering.
It's an explosion of art and joy.
It is, and it just emphasizes how profoundly separated Daiyu is, trapped in her own dark interior world.
And that contrast, that's what sets the stage for Baochai's entrance.
Exactly. The main group is celebrating, but then they realize Daiyu is missing. And there's this little comment from Ying Chun.
She calls her a lazy maid.
She does.
That's a subtle but really important piece of social commentary, isn't it? Even her absence just reinforces her reputation as fragile and withdrawn.
It does. And Baochai, who is always the picture of grace and social confidence, she volunteers to go get Daiyu.
An act that publicly shows how good-natured she is.
And how willing she is to include the melancholy Daiyu in the fun.
But this is where the action shifts, right? From
Yeah.
this public display to a very private calculation.
Yes. So Baochai is on her way to the lodge, and she sees Baoyu go into Daiyu's residence just moments ahead of her.
And she stops.
She stops dead in her tracks. And this decision to retreat is the pivotal moment of the whole chapter.
Why? What's her thinking here?
It's entirely her internal rationale. She knows Baoyu and Daiyu grew up together, and their behavior can be a bit, unrestrained.
Okay.
But more importantly, she knows Daiyu is habitually suspicious and petty.
Jealous. So Baochai walks in right then.
She's not just interrupting a private moment. In Daiyu's mind, she would be validating every suspicion of rivalry she already has. It forces a confrontation that Baochai absolutely does not want.
Or need. It's a purely calculated choice to avoid drama.
And protect her image as the mature, uncontentious one. It shows her profound social acuity. She sees a potential trap, and she just doesn't walk into it.
But now she needs an excuse, right? A reason to turn back without it looking like she was avoiding Daiyu.
And just when she needs it, nature provides the perfect diversion.
The butterflies.
A pair of enormous jade-colored butterflies, as large as a round fan. They float past, and Baochai, for a moment, breaks her perfect composure and decides to chase them with her fan.
This almost childlike, impulsive moment
Is what leads her directly into the path of danger. The chase leaves her breathless and sweating, and it takes her right to the Driplush Pavilion.
Which is a small building over the water, enclosed by paper-covered latticed windows.
She gives up the chase, exhausted.
Yeah.
Just as she hears these low, urgent, murmuring voices from inside.
Ki-cha-cha.
Exactly. She stops to catch her breath, but her social antenna's up. She realizes she's overhearing a highly compromising conversation.
It's about a lost handkerchief, but the stakes are much, much higher than laundry.
Oh, way higher. It's an illicit transaction between servants, and this is where you, the listener, need to grasp the danger.
Okay, so there's a Speaker A, a middleman, insisting that Speaker B, the owner of the handkerchief, has to provide a thank you gift, a payoff.
And the reason is that the handkerchief was found by a young man, Second Master Yun.
And that's critical. He's a male relative allowed on the grounds, but the social codes of the garden strictly forbid these kinds of interactions.
Especially transactions involving private tokens like a handkerchief. This isn't casual flirting. This is a breach of conduct that could lead to immediate expulsion, ruin for a woman in that era.
Speaker B objects, right. She argues he should just return it out of courtesy.
But Speaker A says no, Yun is demanding a reward.
Yeah.
It's basically blackmail over a love token.
So Speaker B agrees to trade one of her own items as payment, but she demands a vow of secrecy.
And this shows you how serious it is.
And this is the line that just makes the hair on your arms stand up. Speaker B demands an oath, and Speaker A gives this chilling vow.
If I tell one person, may I grow a boil and not die well later.
Wow.
That is not a promise. That is a death curse.
It confirms the secret is life-ending if it gets out.
And at that precise, terrifying moment, the maids inside realize someone might be listening outside the pavilion's thin paper windows.
The mood just... it shifts instantly to panic.
They decide they have to push open the windows and see who's there.
And they try to rationalize it, saying if they're seen, they'll just pretend they were joking and playing.
But Baochai knows the truth. If they see her, the situation is completely irretrievable. She is trapped.
She's overheard a secret secured by a death oath. She's in real danger.
Perfect danger. She starts calculating. She recognizes one of the voices as possibly belonging to Hongyu, a maid from Baiyu's room who she knows is highly ambitious and clever, cunning.
And Hongyu's ambition, plus her immediate peril, makes her lethal.
Exactly. Baochai understands the psychology of desperation. Her thought process is clinical. If they see her, they'll be driven to protect themselves by attacking her reputation.
It's the classic people driven to rebellion, dogs jumping over walls.
She can't run without being seen running.
Yeah.
So she has to use misdirection.
And this is where we see the switch. From social grace to tactical ruthlessness.
The deployment of the cicada sheds its shell and stratagem.
Okay, let's unpack that for a second. For anyone unfamiliar with the 36 stratagems, what does that actually mean?
It's about slipping away unnoticed by creating a credible diversion. You make the enemy think you're still there or that someone else is the problem.
So what does Baochai need to do in the next 5 seconds?
Two things simultaneously. First, a loud, immediate physical distraction to cover her presence.
And second,
A false identity for the eavesdropper, one that is completely believable. And she has to do it before those windows open.
and the execution is just masterful.
Before they can push the panel fully open, Baochai purposefully stamps her foot loudly and calls out the nickname Pinner.
Which is Lin Daiyu's nickname. She's pretending to chase her.
When the maids, Hongyu and Su'er, finally open the window, Baochai is already spinning the tale.
She says she saw Lin Daiyu squatting and playing in the water and hiding from her.
She sells it perfectly. She even walks into the pavilion, pretends to search for a moment, and then walks away.
Securing her escape. But she doesn't just leave quietly. She adds one last dismissive jab. As she's walking away, she says what?
She adds this casual, cruel dismissal. She must have burrowed into the rockery cave again. If she runs into a snake and gets bitten, so be it.
Wow. By framing Daiyu as childish, silly, and obsessed with hiding, she makes the idea that Daiyu as the listener seem completely credible.
And that's the payoff. The two maids, Hongyu and Su'er, they completely believe it.
Their focus instantly shifts away from the person who actually heard their secret.
And on to their rival, Daiyu, who is, ironically, sitting at home nursing her sorrow.
And now they're even more panicked because of Daiyu's personality.
Yes, Hongyu is especially worried because Daiyu is known to be sharp-tongued and meticulous. They're afraid she'll be the one to leak the information, to use it to be cutting or malicious.
And now Hongyu, and this one short moment where she runs an errand for the powerhouse manager, Wang Shifeng, is just, It's a perfect snapshot of the entire household.
You can see everything.
Everything, the finances, the communication breakdowns, the rivalries, it's all there. How can one moment of just pure competence, getting a message right, show your potential to the higher-ups, but also at the same time trigger this intense jealousy from your own peers?
It's the classic promotion and punishment all rolled into one.
It is, and the whole thing is kicked off by the head manager, Wang Shifeng, or Fengji. She needs someone reliable, fast.
Why? What's the situation?
Well, her own main assistant is missing, so she has to look outside her team, and she just spots Hongyu, and her judgment is just clean and clever.
And the original Chinese is so much richer, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's Shang de Ganjing Q Li, Shu Hua's Yu. And that means so much more than just smart.
Right.
Kioli is about a pleasing appearance, sure, but Shu Hua's Ku, that means knowing the flavor of speech.
So she has social intelligence.
She has wit. She gets the context. Fengji isn't just looking for someone to run an errand. She's auditioning for talent who can represent her.
And Hongyu gets the gig. Which brings us right into our first section, Fengji's test. This isn't just a delivery, it's a high-stakes financial operation.
It's a total litmus test. Hongyu normally works for the second master, Daiyu. This is her being thrown onto the executive track, and the first part of the errand is a serious financial transaction.
Fengji sends her to her chief assistant, Pinger.
But the instructions, they're given with this almost forensic precision.
And we really have to pause here because the stakes are so high. The message wasn't just go get some money.
No.
Hongyu had to remember 3 absolutely critical things. First, the exact amount, 160 taels of silver.
And let's be clear for you listening, 160 taels of silver is not pocket change.
Not at all.
In that household, that's what, a senior servant's annual salary? Maybe the cost of building a small pavilion in the garden? It's a lot of money. If she gets that number wrong, it's a huge problem.
Okay, so second point, the purpose. Payment for the embroiderer's wages. This means she's handling payroll. That's a critical function that can't be late.
And then the third detail, and this is the real test of her observation skills.
The location.
The exact location of the silver. It is, and I quote, under the stand of a roux kiln plate on the table in the outer room.
Wow.
Think about that. Fengji is making her memorize not just that there's money, but its specific, non-obvious hiding place.
So she's testing 3 things at once. Reliability, attention to detail, and integrity.
Yes. A careless person would forget the stand or the outer room. Hongyu has to have perfect recall of a secret system.
So if she misses any one of those things, the amount, the purpose, the hiding place, the whole mission fails. It's a one-shot test.
And there's a second task, too, to grab a small purse from the bedside chamber. Simpler, but it still means going into private, secure areas.
Right. It's about seeing how much she can handle, her cognitive load.
And spoiler alert, she delivers perfectly.
She does. But when she gets back, Fengji is gone. And this is where it gets interesting, because now Hongyu has to navigate the social minefield of the garden. Section 2.
The inevitable backlash.
She runs right into the established power structure. She runs into Qingwen.
And Qingwen is one of the top maids in Baiyu's quarters. She's secure, she's powerful, and she is not happy. Hongyu just bypassed the entire chain of command. She got a direct order from the top.
So Qingwen immediately tries to pull her back down.
Right.
She doesn't ask where she was, she just attacks.
Right. She launches into a list of chores Hongyu has supposedly failed to do. It's a classic power play. She accuses her of not watering the flowers, not feeding the birds.
And not stoking the tea stove.
Right. Using domestic duties as a weapon.
But this is where Hongyu is just brilliant. She doesn't get defensive. She uses the house's own systems, its own rules, against Qingwen.
It's genius. For the flowers, she says the second master himself ordered them watered every other day. She's just following the new SOP.
The revised standard operating procedure, exactly. And the birds.
She was already feeding them before Qingwen was even out of bed.
And my favorite part, the tea stove.
Yes. She says it wasn't her shift, it wasn't her ban.
Explain that, the banner.
A banner is a scheduled work shift. It means Hongyu isn't just hustling, she's organized. She follows the system. She just proved her competence is based on the rules, not on Qingwen's whims.
She completely neutralizes the attack with pure logistics. And Qingwen just can't handle it. Her frustration just boils over.
Because it's not about the flowers. It was never about the flowers. It's about seeing someone else get ahead. She sees the sachet in Hongyu's hand and delivers that famous line.
I love this quote.
She sneers, "No wonder she's climbed up a high branch now and doesn't put us in her eyes."
That phrase, climbed up a high branch,
Yeah.
it just perfectly captures that resentment. Kingwin writes it off as a fluke and then basically threatens her.
A direct warning, saying, "You'll have to come back down and obey us eventually unless you leave the garden forever."
It's exactly like modern workplace politics. Someone shows real efficiency, and the people who are comfortable with the status quo, they try to gatekeep and pull you back down.
But Hongyu doesn't take the bait. She just walks away to find Fengji. The mission is more important than the fight.
And that's what gets her the promotion. She finds Fengji talking with Li Wan, and this moves us into Section 3, Mastery of Complex Communication.
Right. So first, she closes the loop on task 1. Perfect report. Pinger got silver. It was weighed. It was given out. Done.
Check. Financial transaction complete. But then comes the real test, reporting on the second message Pinger gave her.
And this message is it's a dizzying, multi-layered beast. It reflects the entire interlocking social structure of this massive family.
Let's try to break this down for everyone listening because it is confusing.
It is. Okay, so layer 1, Wang's wife is asking after Li Wan. Simple enough.
Layer 2, a logistical delay. The second master is away.
Layer 3, a social delay. They're waiting for the 5th mistress to get better.
Layer 4, a completely separate family branch. The maternal aunt's wife is sending some news.
And buried deep inside all of that is the actual point. The urgent request for 2 bottles of the elixirs of prolonged life and divine efficacy and complete perfection.
For the maternal aunt's wife. It's a miracle she remembered all that. Even Li Wan, who's right there, says she's totally confused.
She says, "I don't get it. What, grandmother, grandfather?" And it's just a whole big pile. And Fengji just laughs and calls it 4 or 5 families worth of conversation. It's not a message. It's a diplomatic cable.
But Hongyu delivered it. She kept all the strands separate. And this is where Fengji gives her the ultimate praise.
Yes, and she does it by criticizing the other maids. She says most of them whine like mosquitoes. Ningni niña deben sie shed.
What does that mean exactly?
It means they drag out their sentences, they use all this overly formal, affected language. They just waste her time with a lot of buzzing and unnecessary ceremony.
And she contrasts that directly with Hongyu.
Praises her for being brief and concise. Jingduan. Fengji, as the top manager, doesn't want fluff. She wants someone who can take extreme complexity, all those family politics, and distill it into a fast, actionable report.
No mosquito whining.
Just the facts. Delivered efficiently.
And that concise delivery of a ridiculously complex message gets her the job offer on the spot. Fengji says, "Come serve me tomorrow. I'll treat you like my own daughter. I'll train you."
It's an immediate promotion. She bypasses all the middle management. It's a reward based purely on performance and information management skills.
Which is the most valuable currency in that whole world.
Absolutely.
And this brings us to Section 4, where we finally get the context for who Hongyu is and, more importantly, what she wants. She laughs at the daughter comment.
Right, because there's already a connection. Her mother is an acquaintance of Fengji's, and we learn her parents are the managers, Lin Jishao and his wife.
And Fengji's reaction is just priceless. She's stunned.
She says they are one heavenly deaf, one earthly mute.
Meaning they're dull, quiet, compliant. They do their jobs, but they don't have any spark.
They're the old guard, the established bureaucracy. And Fengji just cannot believe that such a clever girl, a Ling Liatu, came from these two.
It shows that real talent can come from anywhere. Fengji is looking for merit, not just, people who fit the old mold.
We also get the story behind her name. She's 17, and her real name was Hongyu, Red Jade, but it was shortened to Hunger, or Red.
Because the Yu conflicted with Baoyu's name.
And Fengji, who hates this kind of artificial formality, just rolls her eyes. She says, very annoying, as if they benefit from the Jade. You are Jade, I am Jade. She sees it as the lower ranks, just copying the superficial habits of their betters.
But the real key here, the absolute payoff, is when Fengji asks if she wants the transfer. This is where we see Hongyu's ambition.
And her answer is not about getting an easier job or better food.
No. She says, and this is so important, following grandmother, we can also learn some sense of propriety, seeing how things are handled in and out, high and low, and gain some insight.
It is a direct request for an apprenticeship in high-level management.
She wants to learn the unspoken rules, the Chiru Shangxi, the ins and outs, the highs, lows. She's making a strategic career move.
She's trading the comfort and security of her old job for massive exposure in a high-pressure, high-learning environment. It's brilliant.
And the transfer is basically approved on the spot. Competence, clarity, and ambition just won out over everything else.
It's a total victory over complacency and gatekeeping. And now, just as Lin Daiyu is waking up late, things are, well, they're starting to feel incredibly fragile. She's had a terrible, sleepless night.
And she's already worried. She's missed the start of the festival, and her first thought is that everyone's going to think she's lazy. So she's already in this state of high anxiety.
And that anxiety spills out almost immediately. The first person she runs into is her cousin, Baiyu, and the tension is just, you can feel it.
It's thick. He comes rushing in, and he's completely on the wrong page. He thinks this is about some minor thing from yesterday.
Yeah, he says something like, "Good sister, did you report me yesterday? It made me worry all night." He's worried about some silly social mistake.
But she is on a completely different emotional plan. She doesn't even look at him.
Nothing. It's the ultimate cold shoulder.
It really is. She just turns to her maid, Zihuan, and starts giving this series of very strange, very specific instructions as she's walking away from him.
It's such a bizarre list. I mean, sure, tidy the room, that's normal. But then it gets weird. She says, leave just one gauze panel down and watch for the large swallows to come back. Then lower the curtain, but prop it exactly with the little lion-shaped weight. And finally, burn the incense and then cover the burner.
If you're Baiyu standing there, you are just completely baffled. He realizes instantly this has nothing to do with him or with yesterday.
So what is it about?
It's about control. She feels this total internal chaos, so she's trying to impose this perfect, aesthetic, almost ritualistic order on her surroundings. The exact position of a curtain covering the incense, it's a sign of how powerless she feels.
I see. So the list isn't just random details, it's a map of her anxiety. It really forces you to see how fragile she is before she even steps outside.
Exactly. Her entire world is shrinking down to these tiny, manageable details. Baiyu's just left there totally confused, and he sort of trails after her, but she just walks right on by to join the others.
And this is where we get this incredible pivot. We go from Daiyu's quiet internal crisis straight into the very loud, very pragmatic, and socially explosive world of Jia Tanshin.
It's a fantastic shift in focus.
Tanshin sees Baiyu and, asks the normal sibling question, has their father called for him? But then she gets right down to business. And this is where you get a huge aha moment about who she really is.
She reveals she saved up her own money, 10 plus strings of cash, which is not a small amount.
Right. And she wants Baiyu to take it when he goes out sightseeing and buy some things for her, which is already a statement, right? She has her own money and her own agenda.
A huge statement. And Baiyu, being Baiyu, immediately thinks she wants the typical luxury goods.
Of course. He's thinking jade, expensive silks, maybe some fancy antiques.
And she just shoots him down. She says, who wants those vulgar things? She knows exactly what she wants, and it has nothing to do with status. It's all about simplicity and craft.
So what's on her list?
She wants small baskets made from willow branches, scent boxes carved out of whole bamboo roots, and these really simple clay incense burners, the fengluer.
She seems to really value things that are, authentic.
That's the perfect word for it. The entire GF family is drowning in opulence, in wealth that's all about showing off your inherited status. Tanshin is deliberately choosing things that value craftsmanship, nature, sincerity. She even tells him to find things that are simple but not vulgar and straightforward but not clumsy.
That feels like more than just a preference. It's almost a philosophy.
It is. She's creating her own standard of value. She understands that real worth is in character, in sincerity, not in fancy things that can be taken away. She's building an identity based on inner merit, not on what her family owns.
Which makes perfect sense when you consider what happens next. She offers to make him a new pair of shoes, and that just opens up a whole can of worms.
Oh, it does. The shoe story shows you just how political everything is in this house, even a simple gift.
So what happened with the first pair?
She made him a pair of shoes, a loving gesture. But when his father, Master Jia, saw them, he got angry, called them a waste of effort and precious silk.
Wow.
So Baiyu had to lie. He said his aunt gave them to him just to avoid getting into trouble.
So even a gift from a sister has to be laundered through the official family structure to be acceptable. But that wasn't even the worst of it, was it?
Not even close. The real explosion comes from Tanshin's biological mother, Zhao Yinyang.
Okay, we need to pause here. Explain her position in the family.
Zhao Yinyang is a concubine. So even though she is Tanshin's birth mother, she has a much, much lower status than Madame Wang, the first wife. Her children are automatically considered lower on the social ladder.
And she resents that.
Deeply. She is constantly trying to use her children, Tan Chun and Ji Huan, to fight for status and resources.
So when she complains, it's not really about the shoes.
Exactly. Baiyu tells Tanchen that Zhao Yangyang was furious. She was complaining that Tanchen makes nice things for Baiyu, the son of the legitimate wife, while her own son, Jia Huan, is walking around with sloppy shoes.
And this is where Tanchen just loses it.
Completely. And her anger isn't even about her brother, Jia Huan. It's directed entirely at her mother's worldview.
She calls it a petty and vulgar mentality.
It's an utter rejection. She's not just angry, she is tearing down the entire social contract she was born into. She said basically, I'm not required to make shoes for anyone based on who their mother is.
That is the so what moment. She's rejecting the whole system of birth status.
And she does it by attacking the one person she's supposed to be most loyal to, her own mother. She says, I only recognize my father and Madame Wang. And then she delivers the killer line. I don't know anything about legitimate or concubine-born siblings.
Wow.
She says she chooses her relationships based on who is good to her. It's demand for meritocracy, for loyalty based on character, not birth.
She's basically declaring her independence from her mother's social climbing and her own, inferior birth status.
She's defining herself on her own terms. And this connects back to the money, too. Her mother also complained that she gave her savings to Baiyu instead of her brother. Tanchen just found it so ridiculous she walked away and went to see Madame Wang. She's aligning herself with a power structure that values her, not the one she was born into.
So we have Tanchen fighting for control for her identity, and now we have to circle back to Daiyu, who's taken the complete opposite route. She's just retreating.
After all that drama, Baiyu figures Daiyu's probably hiding somewhere, still upset, so he decides to just give her a few days to cool off. He's used to her moods.
But as he's walking, he starts to notice the ground. It's covered in fallen flowers, phoenix eye, pomegranate, just thick on the ground. It's a beautiful but really sad image.
And it connects right back to her strange instructions that morning. He thinks to himself that Daiyu must be too upset to have done her usual ritual of collecting them. So he decides he'll do it for her.
He gathers them up and takes them to the flower mound, right? The special place they have.
Right, the huazong. It's where they buried peach blossoms together before. It's this very intimate shared space for them. But as he gets close, he stops.
What does he hear?
He hears someone weeping, softly, and counting. At first, he thinks it's probably one of the maids who's been punished for something.
Why a maid?
Because a high-born young lady like Daiyu would be expected to keep her grief private, indoors. To be weeping so openly, performing this kind of dramatic ritual outside, it suggests a total loss of composure. It just shows how completely overwhelmed she is.
But it's not a maid, it's Daiyu. And she's reciting what becomes one of the most famous poems in all of Chinese literature, the Song of the Burial of Flowers.
This is it. This is the masterpiece of mourning, the full, uncensored expression of everything she's been feeling.
And it starts with this lament for beauty that's just wasted.
Yes, she's basically holding a funeral for the flowers, and she sees herself in them. Flowers fade and fly all over the sky, whose pity the red fades and fragrance breaks. She feels like no one else even cares that this beauty is gone.
Then she gets into this fear of time, contrasting the beauty of spring with the wind knives and frost swords that are always pressing in.
Right. And that leads directly to this terrifying personal question. Next year, who will be in the inner chambers? For Daiyu, an orphan living as a guest, the idea of just disappearing is a very real fear.
And she feels so alone in this. She even points out that the birds, the swallows, they can rebuild their nests next year. But for her, if she's gone...
The person gone, the beam empty, and the nest also collapsed. It's just total, absolute loss. There's no coming back.
So the ritual, the burial itself, is about maintaining some kind of dignity in the face of all that.
Exactly. It's about a clean end. She says, better to gather the bright bones in a brocade pouch, a mound of clean earth to cover the graceful one. She has this core belief. Born clean to return clean. She can't bear the thought of her beauty or her body being tossed away into some dirty ditch.
But even as she's doing this, she realizes the irony of it all, doesn't she?
She does. The poem takes this incredible turn. She realizes that one day she'll be the one who needs burying, and there will be no one left to do it for her. She who buries the flowers is laughed at as foolish, who will bury me in the coming years.
Baiyu is just listening to this, completely stunned. He must realize this isn't about him at all. This is a profound despair.
It's the final crushing blow of the poem. The realization that death makes everyone and everything equal and unknown. Her last line says it all. When the spring ends, the beauty grows old, flowers falling and people dying, both unknown to each other.
Wow. In the end, a falling flower and a dying person are just the same in different event.
And Baiyu is just left there, listening, absolutely gutted by the depth of her sorrow and her fatalism.